Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, kicking off the 50-cent late pick four at Belmont Park on Saturday with graded stakes action. This, the Grade 3 Noble Damsel at a mile on the Widener turf course. This race for fillies and mares. Before we get to the analysis, remember that DRF clocker reports are available for this entire Belmont Fall Championship meeting, produced daily by Mike Welsh and his expert team of clockers. A perfect complement for your DRF past performances. Clocker reports especially helpful for first-time starters, horses coming off long layoffs, European imports, etc. Good deals available at drf.com/clocker. Let's meet the field for the Grade 3 Noble Damsel Stakes. Fillies and mares going a mile again. $200,000 is the purse. And it's a short field, Mike, and when you see a horse like Valedictorian in this race, you know that she's probably going to control the pace. She is much improved this year for Kelly Bream, and Timeform US, I think, agrees with our assessment. As we put up the pace projector, they think Valedictorian's just going to make the front. I thought last time out she was a little bit too conservatively handled.
Yeah, maybe she was. I guess you could give her that excuse if you wanted to. I think she will clear to the lead in this race, but the horse to beat is right to her inside, and significant form is not going to let this horse walk on the lead, I don't think.
Now, the number one, Beleve, might have to overcome a blue bar Timeform US scenario, which means that this race could favor horses on or near the early lead. And as you saw in the pace projector, Beleve is near the back of the field on the projector. Let's go back to her most recent start. We have to go way back to June in the Perfect Sting Stakes. She's in the blue cap. She's had a nice little tracking trip on the outside, and she's just not good enough for Uni, who's going to roll this field down for Chad Brown at 2-5. All in all, it was the usual solid effort for Beleve, and I think she can get a little bit closer under Dylan Davis and work out a nice ground-saving pace tracking trip.
Yeah, I don't agree with that pace projector at all. I don't think she's going to be last early in this race. I think she'll be probably mid-pack, sort of towards, or at least near to the lead in this race. She's not going to be outrunning here. Listen, I just think she fits really well in here. She's improved for Todd Pletcher since he took over. Her last two races, I thought she ran fine against horses who were just better than she is. This is a much more comfortable spot for her, I think.
Third start of the year for the Chad Brown trainee, the number two, Stella de Camelot, third in the Grade 3 Intercontinental Stakes off the long layoff, and third last time out in the Della Rose at Saratoga. Let's turn to the stretch in the Della Rose. You'll see Stella de Camelot in the yellow silk. She's going to idle in behind horses for a brief moment, then alter course down towards the inside. To her outside is Capletemptress, who's going to try to rally into Got Stormy, who was just too good for these horses on this day. Both of these horses ran well. Stella de Camelot, a horse, though, that I think needs a little bit of pace.
Yeah, they both, I thought, ran well in this race, but they also both have sort of similar running styles where I think they're both at their best when they can sit back and make one run. That style may not play in this race, so we'll see what happens with the two of them. Of the two, and it was close in that race we just watched, I think I kind of prefer Capletemptress to Stella de Camelot.
Let's talk a little bit about the number three, Betty F. She's kind of an unknown with only one start in North America. That race coming at Del Mar back in August, and she didn't do much running in that non-winners of one other than race, although she was bet hard that day to favoritism. Blinkers come on for Tom Morley. She gets an aggressive rider in Kendrick Carmouche. You look at her overall form in Europe, it doesn't look like she was facing the best.
It doesn't. I guess we'll see. They obviously think a little bit highly of her to ship her over here to run in this race. She didn't do that much running at Del Mar, but she also got a terrible trip in that race. After not breaking great, she just couldn't get clear in the stretch. And I feel like Drayden Van Dyke just kind of gave up on her and let her finish on her own. I know she's better than that, Dan. I don't know if she's good enough to beat this field, though.
I kind of agree with you, Mike, that Capletemptress might be a slightly better closer than Stella de Camelot, and I kind of like to race slightly better in the Della Rose. She just didn't have a lot of speed and was out sprinted early. We saw Jose Ortiz take her to the far outside to make her run, and that's Capletemptress. You know what you're going to get out of her, and it's a good, solid effort just about every time.
Yeah, she does show up and run every time, and she's been close in some, really good races for this division. She's probably just a cut or two below the really good ones. In races like this, though, I think she fits really well. I don't know if this race is going to set up perfectly for her, because I do think she's at her best when they take her back and make one run. But this is a pretty good horse.
Mike, you mentioned that the five significant form, the 2-1 morning line favorite, is the horse to beat. I certainly agree with that assessment. Not only does she have tactical speed, she's sharp right now for Chad Brown. Let's go back to the Ballston Spa Stakes, a Grade 2 event, and John Velasquez just gave her a perfect ride, tucking in behind this 40-1 long shot leader, easing to the outside, and sprinting home to just get up by a neck. Was this the day to have her, however?
I mean, it was just because she was a really good price in this race, in that race, and she'll be the favorite this time. But that doesn't mean that she isn't the horse to beat. She's just really good. I think what you've realized over time with her is it's all about distance for her. She doesn't really want to go any longer than a mile and a 16th. These races between 7 furlongs and 8.5 furlongs, I think they hit her right between the eyes. She's really good on her best day, and she's going to be up close once again in this race. To me, she's way the horse to beat.
And as for Valedictorian, who we discussed in the Timeform U.S. Pace Projector portion of this stakes preview, she's likely to make the lead. She tried to make it, I guess, last time out in the yellow ribbon, a horse to the inside, just a little bit quicker. She loomed on the outside. Let's watch that race right now, the yellow ribbon handicap. And she's in with a chance turning into the stretch. She doesn't change leads. She never passes the pace setter. I don't know. I was kind of disappointed with this effort, considering the success rate that East Coast-based horses have had on the turf in the West Coast over the past few years.
Yeah, this wasn't a very good performance from her. She didn't really have any excuse at all in this race. Just wasn't good enough at the end of the day. She's run some nice races, though. She can, she's shown several times that she can be very dangerous when she gets loose on the lead, and maybe she'll get loose on the lead in this race.
Top pick time for the Grade 3 Noble Damsel. We agree in here. I think Beleve has a chance to actually move up from that 7-2 morning line. Dylan Davis aboard for Todd Pletcher. She's rock solid. Maybe she's not as good as we thought she was going to be earlier in her career when she was trained by Jimmy Toner, but she's kept excellent company. And I like the fact that Todd gave her a little bit of a freshening during the Saratoga meet.
Yeah, to me, this was more about price than anything else. It just feels like she's going to be a very fair price in this race, and she has races that are good enough to win. So I put her over significant form. I went 154. If she's around that 7-2, I think it's fair value.
And I have the same exact. I'm not way against significant form. I think she probably trips out again. And as we mentioned, she is the horse to beat. I went 1.564 in the Grade 3 Noble Damsel, kicking off the late pick 4 at Belmont Park on Saturday with an approximate post time of 4:51 Eastern. Good luck.